Historical relationship between science and society in India. Hi, my name is Ashutosh and I'm from BSc Honours Zoology, Hansraj College. So, today we'll discuss how science and society have interacted throughout Indian history. Science in India has never developed in isolation. It has always been shaped by social structures, political systems, cultural traditions, and economic needs. To understand this relationship, clearly we need to look at three major phases. First, ancient and medieval India. Second, colonial India. Third, post independence India. Each period shows how social conditions influence scientific development. I want to talk about these two pictures. The first one is Dhanvantri, the mythological god who is represent the god of medicine. And the second picture shows Shushrut who is doing surgery. Introduction, Science and Society. Science develops through social needs, cultural traditions, political structures, and economic priorities. The picture shown here is Vishwamitra showing teaching the nine planets about to Rama and Lakshman. In India, scientific knowledge evolved through interaction between indigenous traditions and external influence. Science does not grow independently from society, it develops according to the needs and values of the civilization. In India, scientific knowledge was historically linked with religion, agriculture, medicine, and astronomy. Later, during colonial rule, modern Western science entered India and interacted with traditional knowledge system. This interaction shaped the unique scientific culture we see in India today. Science in ancient India produced major advances in mathematics, concept of zero decimal system, astronomy, Aryabhata's planetary models, medicines like Ayurveda and surgeries by Sushruta. In Ayurveda like Patanjali's text and Atharveda, metallurgy as well, iron pillar of Delhi, corrosion resistance. These developments were closely linked with religion, philosophy, and daily life. Scientific knowledge in ancient India was not separated from philosophy or spirituality. Astronomy developed partially for religious calendars. Medicine developed through Ayurveda, which focused on balance in the human body. Mathematics and astronomy were highly developed. Scholars like Aryabhata and Brahmagupta made important contributions that influenced later Islamic and European science. Researchers note that pre-colonial India had strong traditional, particularly in mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. These, the picture in the middle, is the iron pillar at Qutub Minar in New Delhi. So, folk festivals follow seasonal cycles, helping the body adapt to climate changes. Traditional diets and foods boost immunity and support digestion. Fasting practices help in detoxification and metabolic balances. Use of natural items like turmeric, neem, and herbs provide antimicrobial benefits. Dance and physical activities improve fitness and body coordination. Example, Garba, Bharatanatyam, and tribal dance of tribal people. Community gatherings reduce stress and support mental health. Rituals of cleanliness and hygiene prevent infections. Fasting during Navratri is also one of the examples of detoxification and metabolic balance. Close connection with nature promotes environmental awareness and well-being. The protection of peepal tree and banyan tree is like the close connection with nature. Traditional knowledge reflects early understandings of health, science, and medicine. Knowledge system and society. So social context of ancient scientific knowledge was preserved through Gurukul education system, Sanskrit texts and scholars and mathematicians. Science served practical purposes such as agriculture, medicine, architecture, navigation. In ancient India, science was transmitted through texts and oral teachings. Knowledge was usually preserved by scholars and religious institutions. Scientific work often served practical purposes such as agriculture, health, and temple architecture. Thus, science was integrated into everyday life and cultural practices. The photo is from Jantar Mantar, New Delhi. Introduction of modern science. The British colonial period transformed scientific development. Important developments included establishment of scientific institutions like AIMS in after post or near pre-colonial period. Introduction of Western scientific education. Scientific surveys of India. However, science was often used to support colonial administration and economic exploitation. So during the colonial period, modern Western science was introduced into India. But this process was complex. Science was not introduced purely for education or research. Instead, it was often used to strengthen colonial control. Historians argue that science in colonial India was closely linked with imperial governance and resource extraction. Colonial scientific institutions, major institutions established. Example included like Geological Survey of India, Botanical Survey of India, Metallurgical Department, Asiatic Society of Bengal, and also the Archaeological Survey of India. These institutions studied India's natural resources and environment. Even though the ancient artifacts were taken to British Museum, scientific surveys and institutions played a key role during colonial rule. For example, botanical gardens and surveys were created to study plants that could be used commercially. The establishment of Botanical Research Institution in Calcutta was partially motivated by the East India Company's interest in improving agricultural production and revenue. This shows how science and colonial economic policy were closely connected. Rise of Indian scientists, emergence of Indian scientist community. Despite colonial limitations, Indian scientists made major contributions. Example include C.V. Raman, the Raman effect, S.N. Bose, Bose statistics, Meghnad Saha, ionization theory. These discoveries brought global recognitions to Indian science. Science and nationalism. Science as a tool for nation building. Of course, during the freedom movement, science became linked with nationalism. Indian leaders promoted scientific education. Universities and research institutions expanded. For example, Banaras Hindu University promoted modern scientific education. Many Indian leaders believed science was essential for national progress. Educational institutions began promoting both traditional knowledge and modern science. For example, Madan Mohan Malviya played a key role in establishing Banaras Hindu University as a center for scientific education. Science after independence. Post 1947, scientific development happened. After independence, India emphasized scientific progress. Major development included establishment of IITs, space programs, ISROs, nuclear research, expansion of universities. Science becomes central to national development. Science and society today. So, contemporary relationship. Today, science influences society in areas such as healthcare, agriculture, digital technology, space research. So, at the same time, social issues like ethic policies and public awareness also shape scientific progress. So, in conclusion, I just want to say key points and I want to refer the key points. Science in India developed through interaction with society. Ancient India had strong indigenous scientific traditions. Colonial rule introduced modern Western science but also shaped it for imperial purposes. Indian scientists played a crucial role in advancing the global science. After independence, science becomes central to national development. In conclusion, the history of science in India cannot be separated from its social and political context. Scientific knowledge evolved through the interaction between tradition, colonial influence, and modern development. Understanding this relationship helps us appreciate the role science continues to play in shaping Indian society. These are the references from Deepak Kumar's Science and the Raj, study of British India, Oxford University Press, and other references. And that's it. Thank you for the question.